Hey everyone, thanks for joining. We'll be starting now. Hannah, could you put your share screen back up?
Yeah, 1 second.
Hey, and feel free to turn your cameras on or leave your cameras off. We don't have a strong preference. For today's presentation, Hannah will be sharing a breakdown from advice, tips, tricks, and timelines, which many of you here are trying to figure out regarding recruitment from 2022 to 2023. Most of you have used our job board, so you know that a lot of roles have opened. I'll do a quick breakdown of what we'll work on today for this members only workshop. I know we have a few of you who might be Chinese or international students joining from Xiaohongshu. I don't know the English name, but if you are, don't worry. Like, we do our presentations and workshops in English, but later on for the second half of the portion, we will open breakout rooms. And if you only prefer to speak Chinese or if you're more comfortable, just make sure you go to one of the breakout rooms with the tag inside. And then Shawnari, all of you from UXGO probably know him really well at this point. He's always hosting every workshop with us, so big shout out to Shawnari. Shawnari will be hosting the ones for English speaking. I'll be bouncing between the rooms depending on how many folks we have. We have a bigger turnout, so if we need to, I will do one of my own individual breakout rooms as well. If there are no other questions as of now, Hannah, I'll let you start.
Okay, so hello everyone. Thanks for joining the meeting today. This workshop is for UXGO members only, and the topic is about UX recruitment season timeline and preparation. So before we start our Q&A sessions, I want to have a really quick slides to show us like what is the basic timeline gonna be look like and what is the preparation work you can consider about. So our today's agenda gonna be UX recruitment timeline, application preparation, think outside the box, and then Q&A sessions. So a little bit intro about myself. Currently, I'm UX designer at Epic Game 419, and I also had experience to work at Repo as UX designer. So Repo is kind of like a video content and social media focused app tools for the small businesses. And also I took the role of the design lead at Navid. Navid is a fintech app aiming for how to combine users' mindfulness and their financial skill sets. And also my capstone work with Xbox team to do some social connection powering behind the gaming. So let's get started with the UX recruitment timeline. I think that's like lots of students they are most interested in. And you can type in 1 if you already start to apply some jobs, and you can type 2 if you haven't started to apply any jobs. Okay, seems like lots of students, they already try to apply some jobs. That's really good. So basically for the timeline, let's see, right now it's November. So for November to December, that's the timeline, like most of companies, they are starting to post internship positions for the next year. It's almost for winter quarter and summer quarters. But we also gonna find out there's some contractor roles they might hiring urgently at this time because it's kind of like at the end of the year. And for the next year, if there's like some of the employees, they have like maternity leave for some small business, they have to hire someone urgently at this moment. And other than that, from company side, they need to dealing with the budgeting, and they are doing like road mapping for next year. So what's the companies they are trying to, what's the company's goal they are trying to achieve for the next year, and what's the budget they have. So for most of the companies, they are thinking about something like that. And let's see, for next year. So for January to February, most of the companies, they start running hiring process. And from a company side, the hiring budget is super clear to them, and recruiters, they are actively hunting for candidates. So let's say you just applied a job on November or December. So just like a big chance you didn't hear anything back. But for January and February, you probably gonna receive lots of emails from them. They're gonna tell you like, hey, we are running our interview process right now. That's the reason like why you should apply it as soon as possible, because it's not all the interview process gonna happen within the 1 month or 2 months. Sometimes they need to like delay it to the next year. Also, there's like some new opening roles gonna come out during January and February. It depends on the companies. And for the March to April, so most companies, they already finished their hiring interns plan, but there are like few full-time or new grad positions, they are still hiring. So we can see like for the November to December, there's like most roles they're gonna coming out. And January and February, there's like new roles coming out, but also that's like the time for companies, they are interviewing, running their hiring process. But for here, it's almost like at the end of the popular season's time. So for this time, like you still have a chance to apply for some positions, but you need to know that's gonna be super competitive. And also some people who didn't get in for the first round, like November time, January time, they're gonna try super hard at this time together. So from the company side, this term is not their priority for hiring someone. So that's something like you should keep in mind. And let's jump into application preparation. So we already know the timeline and what is the application preparation we can make right now. I make a list for this job hunting to-do list. And if you can see it clearly, I would say like how to make sure you are ready to do the things on the list is if you have a resume and a standard portfolio already. So what is the standard portfolio already? It's kind of like you already have it for 70% down, 80% down, then I would say that's the right time for you to start looking at this to-do list. So the first thing is you need to know your time and start job hunting plan, not ahead, it's now. So many of students gonna thinking about like, I want to looking for internships for next year's summer. It sounds like still super far from now. So if I'm doing something right now, does that mean I'm planning ahead? That's not, everyone should just plan it right now or even earlier. Another thing is you need to know your time, like, are you looking for a full-time job after graduation, or are you looking for internships after you graduated? Or like, what is the timeline for you yourself as a UX designer you want to land it on? And another thing is get your resume and portfolio reviewed. That's super important step. You don't want to like just apply like a ton of jobs, but feel super unprepared. So to get your resume and portfolio reviewed by the coaches, by the peers, that's super important for the first step. You already know, like, how's my current resume looks like for most of the people or for the recruiters. Because the reason behind this is you need to know what is the good and how do you make yours better. To know what is a good portfolio is super important. There's a lot of ways you can figure this out. You can do the review with the coaches. Also, you can like search on portfolio to type in and looking for like, for example, Google is your ideal dream company, and then you can search for the interns they just hired in the past of the years and what their portfolio looks like. And always keep in mind, like yours should be like almost like on the average level for the past interns and or even like above their level, because like year by year, it's gonna be more and more competitive. And next one is prepare the best version of your portfolio and resume. I didn't put a check mark on this one because for most of you probably feel about like, right now I cannot prepare my best version because I still have like 1 or 2 projects running on right now. I haven't like put everything of my best on my portfolio. So that's okay. I'll just keep in mind, keep improving that, but make sure like you still can start to do something else on this list. So next one is get job board and bookmark multiple applying platforms. Like UXGO has job board. We collect all the new job opportunities for you already. And you can also bookmark some other platforms like Handshakes. If you are still like student in your program, then Handshakes could be like super strong for platform for you to use because everyone gonna use the Handshakes on it. They kind of like still like your level. They're still like students, and the recruiters, they are kind of supposed the applicants are students as well. So you are not like compete with someone who already has 1 or 2 years work experience. Other than that, next one is get to know the job types you can apply for. Some of the students, they are only looking at for UX intern positions, but they didn't know. Sometimes you can also consider about the part-time, the contract role, and even the full-time roles. So try to get to know and do a little bit of research about what is the exact job types you can consider. Next one is keep enriching your work experience and skill sets. So why I'm saying this one is super important is right now, you should not only focusing on like, I need to get my summer intern. That's my only goal. You should also thinking about like from right now to the next summer, what else you can do to keep improving yourself and keep learning. And other than that, I would say like building up connections through LinkedIn if you could, but that's not like highest priority. And another thing is read more job descriptions and think as a recruiter. Lots of students, they just thinking about like, I'm not sure I'm the perfect candidate for this job or not, because I think about they have never read job descriptions super carefully. If you read it carefully, you're gonna read lots of keywords they already highlighted, what kind of person they are looking for, and what is the skill sets you need to have to be prepared for this role. And other than that, you need to think yourself as a recruiter. So if you are a recruiter, what kind of the candidates you are going to hire, they should have like super standout skill sets that you're looking for, or they're kind of like had the similar experience that you're looking for the team. So try to think about in that way, you're gonna have a more clear plan, like what and where you should prepare. The next one, the last one is make a job hunting spreadsheet. That's super, super important. I notice lots of students, they kind of like starting their job hunting process kind of like randomly. They just like, oh, today I'm gonna apply to a few of them, or tomorrow I'm gonna not apply to any of them. It's super, super random, but if you make a job hunting spreadsheet, you can track how many jobs you already applied for, and you can track have they replied to you or not. What is the status of it? For me, when I did that, I would just like create a category, say status, and it's just like I sent application or email I received it, or I'm under the interview process with it, or it's like the last round of it. Like I'm gonna do the tracking for each of the jobs I applied for. And in that way, it's also super encouraging for you, for yourself to keep running it, because you kind of feel like you are doing a really detailed research for this job hunting process. And next one, so before you prepare everything, I made a list here. You can try to thinking about like how to apply in job. So for applying job, I made 2 categories here. One is applying tier A job. Another one is applying tier B job. And you should have different strategy for these 2 types of the jobs. Every time when you're looking at a new job positions, you need to analysis a little bit and do the research for it. So what is the tier A job for your mind? It could be like your dream job. It could be your dream companies. And it could be the jobs you are interested in. You feel the job descriptions are talking about you exactly, that's your job. Or you are super close to meet up all the requirements for these positions, then you are also like probably gonna be ideal candidates for it. Then you can mark it as a tier A job for you. So once you know this is the tier A job, what you're gonna do, step one, read the job descriptions carefully. Like I already mentioned for the last step, and highlighted keywords for these positions. Why we need this part? That's because you're gonna review and update your resume for this job specifically. Once you know what is the keywords or the key skill sets that this job is looking for, you can back to review your resume and typically just change some of the terms to the keywords they are exactly looking for. Why I'm saying that, just like lots of different scenarios for a company, how they hiring you for the screening process. So some of the companies, they're gonna just use the machine to scan your resume. If they didn't see all the keywords they're looking for, even though your experience matched with someone they're looking for, they probably just missed that. Or for some recruiters, they have no UX design knowledge, or they are not coming from that background. They didn't do enough research for that. They won't know you are the ideal candidates or not. So how they gonna figure it out you are the ideal person she's looking for? Then she's gonna like just looking at your resume. Does that match all the skill sets that the job description mentioned? If not, then probably you are not ideal candidate for it. So that's the reason why you need to highlight the keywords for this position. The next one, you can do the research for more context about this role, and also customize your cover letter if they require you to upload your cover letter. Next one, don't doubt yourself, just give your best. And review, update your portfolio fit for this job. This one is optional because if you are kind of like applying for multiple jobs right now, and this is super specific field. Let's say this is like a gaming field. You don't want to like just put everything game related to that. If you are also considering like some other field like fintech or other B2B, B2C areas, so that one I put it as optional. But if you get an interview, probably you should do that, right? So the last one is apply for the job and then check on spreadsheet. So yeah, really need to check in it time by time. Next one, so for applying tier B job, what is tier B job? It's like or non-tier A jobs, but with the matching job titles. Like it's still like UX designer job. It's like experience design, or it's like interaction design, product design, everything you think is related to you. And then the job gonna related to your major fields. That's also tier B job. The description of the position is roughly in line with your skill sets, and the job that sounds not that popular. So why I'm mentioning like the jobs that sounds not that popular, sometimes if you saw there's a job sounds super boring, maybe that could be your back plan to try, because it means it's not super competitive job, but maybe you can learn a lot through that experience as well. So it can be your back plan. So why not just try it? So after that, you know what is a tier B job? Just prepare a general resume and cover letter. And step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just apply it and track it. Make sure every day or at least like weekly, you applied enough tier B job because they are your back plan. And then we're gonna wrap up in 5 minutes. So think outside of the box. I think many of you have saw this picture before. I need a job, and then the hiring manager say you don't have experience, and then you say, but I need to work to get my experience, and then work. That's why I'm here. Then your experience, and then how am I gonna get experience without work? And then the hiring manager say work. So this is like super typical, like act first, or chicken first, right? So it's like work first or experience first. I would say it's definitely experience first. You don't have to thinking about you can only build up experience from the work. You are also building up your experience from your projects, from the school, from your life experience. There's like lots of way you build up your experience already. So don't feel super inconfident, like saying this is my first job. I don't think I'm super satisfied. I'm super like confident about this job or not, because you always need to have a try for the first time. And another super important things I want to mention is lots of students, they ask me like, what if I feel I haven't fully prepared for applying a job? Can I just like wait 1 month or 2 months later until I feel like I'm super prepared for it? I would tell them like, let's say there's one job posted on November, and this is you, and this is like all other students. So all the other students, they kind of like already applying for this job, and you are looking for that. So what's going on for another job posted on January? Just only few of them disappeared in this picture because they got a job. But other than that, most of students, they're still in here. So imagine like you didn't apply the job on the November, which means other people, they try it, they learn it, they practice it. They already improved their resume and portfolio to next level, but you are still here because you lose the chance to kind of like try the November's job. So don't feel about like you must to be super ready up for the jobs you are looking for. You can just like have a try and make the first step. And trying to be more confident and make your own tag, make yourself special. That's the key for how you can impress the recruiters and hiring managers. And don't be afraid to start planning out and keep moving. You don't know the pain points until you start researching them. And let's get to the Q&A sessions.
Okay, thanks for sharing. I wanted to just reiterate a few key points from what Hannah shared. We'll do a few quick group. Yeah, thanks a lot, Hannah. So a few things I want to go over again, just a reflection for everyone. First thing to make sure that you're understanding the timeline is that recruitment is in waves. So many of you joined late, so I want to emphasize that again. And feel free to ask us, Shawnee, me, or Hannah in the breakout rooms later. We all have a lot of experience with recruitment, right? We've all approached recruitments with different backgrounds. Hannah works at Epic Games Fortnite. A lot of you know the company, right? It's considered the FANG of gaming. I've had experience from internships with Google, Amazon, and then later worked full-time at these companies. So if you want questions on, if you haven't even applied yet, where to start, you can join my breakout room. And I can communicate with you in Chinese in our breakout room. If you already applied to some roles, but you're not getting any responses and you prefer to speak Chinese, I recommend you join Hannah's breakout room. So if you apply to some, but you're not getting, interviews, go join Hannah's breakout room. Hannah can help you customize it. If you have general questions and, you prefer to just chat with us in English, you can join Shawnree's session for today. We do have a lot of international students here. So if you have like visa specific questions, like for my visa, what are some of the rules I can apply or not apply? You can ask us those questions too, but we can't offer you like very specific advice on like how do I get OTP or stuff like that, because that affects your school. So this is the first point. The second part about creating your resume and portfolio is, first off, I want everyone here to know the case study and the portfolio are not the same things, right? A lot of students ask us like, hey, I don't have my portfolio yet. And I ask, do you not have your website or do you not have your case study? Because these are two completely different things, right? So if you're not sure how these are different, make sure to ask us in our breakout room, because this is the number one mistake that makes a lot of students confused when they're applying. So the third thing you need to know is understand what a good portfolio and a good resume is and what is not. So if you're already a UXGO member, make sure you ask us for those recordings because in September and October, we already spent a lot of classes learning about these, right? So if you were in those classes, you should already know what is a good portfolio and what is a good resume. When you research online by yourself, especially when you use a tool like Cofolio, Hannah, can I share my screen and give an example?
Yeah.
So just a quick example, if you look on a site like Cofolio, but you don't know what is good and what is bad, you might set yourself up for failure. So I'm going to look at the first one here, right? A lot of our students, my students, went to Google for intern or new grad last year. But if you actually understand what a good portfolio is and you look at this one, you might realize there's a lot of things that aren't too perfect about this portfolio, right? The way they do the documentation and case study may not actually be things you want to learn from, but you might just try to copy it because you say like, oh, they worked at Google. But why someone gets hired somewhere has a lot to do with opportunities and other factors. The portfolio is only part of it. So if you don't know where to start, make sure you read articles, you watch our recordings, so you learn what to do to make sure your portfolio is good. So learn what's good, what's bad first. Then once you do that, step 4, timeline-wise, you can have your files to start to get reviewed by mentors or coaches. If you're starting from scratch, like if you don't have portfolios or case study, you can take classes with us to build it. And then number 5, Hannah mentioned this a lot. Using the spreadsheet to track what you've applied to is very important because this makes sure that you know what are the roles I applied to, I didn't hear back, what are the roles I get instantly rejected, so you can analyze your own data. Every new grad and intern, for intern, you should apply to at least 50 by January, okay? For new grad, you should be looking for 80. And if you can't find that many roles, that means you're doing something wrong, right? It has nothing to do with the recession and stuff like that. Because even if you look at our job board, there's already 50 to 80 roles on there. So if you just apply to every role on your job board, you already applied to that many, right? Number 6, you want to make sure you tailor your resume for roles you want. So Hannah mentioned this a little bit, but I'll emphasize this again. Imagine you're applying to Google and Amazon, right? A lot of our students are interviewing with Google and Amazon this week. Do you think students submitted the same resume for Amazon and Google? They obviously didn't, right? So if you're submitting the same resume for every role, you're obviously doing something wrong. And then you say like, hey, why am I not hearing back from these roles? Well, that would be like, like if you go on a dating show or if you try to date different people, but you say the same thing every time. How many dates do you think you'll get, right? Maybe 1 at best, right? So you have to be flexible. Yeah, Casey likes my example. Casey goes on a lot of dating shows. So that's the way you should think about it, right? And then number 7 is you need to understand your own strengths and weaknesses. So in our breakout rooms, if you're not sure, we can talk about that. Like we'll help you analyze it. But you need to make sure the first 6 things get done first, right? Sometimes students say like, hey, what do you think is my strength? And I'm like, you don't even have a portfolio yet, right? So we can't talk about that. Like, how do I know what's your strength when you don't even have your application ready? So you need to make sure the first 6 steps are done. And then you can say like, so Hannah's a lead designer in fintech areas. She has a lot of experience with fintech, right? So if you want to work in fintech, you might want to highlight your fintech projects, right? A lot of you take classes with Hannah right now. So that's a strategy you can to get into the fintech field. I've worked at Oculus. I've done their Steam VR projects for about 3 years. So if you want to do AR, VR, right, that's a way you can highlight your strength. But you have to have your fundamentals completed first, right? When I was interviewing with Amazon, even for intern or mid-level, doesn't matter what level your role is, you can have these special projects that match them, but you still need to have your general application at a certain level. So make sure the first 6 steps is done. If there are no other specific questions for us, you all can join the breakout rooms now. Once again, if you don't have an application yet and you prefer to ask us questions in Chinese, you can join my breakout room. My name is Leon. I'm happy to help you there. If you want to speak Chinese with Hannah and you already submitted to some roles, I want you to join Hannah's breakout room. And for all other students who prefer to speak English, please join Shawnery's breakout room. Do all of you see the breakout rooms open right now? Are all of you able to join? Hannah, can you let me know if you see the breakout rooms?
I I see it, but looks like Ahmad, you had issues.
Okay, I think she's able to join. So everyone, please go to your breakout rooms.
I'll stay here for now. Do you see it on the bottom row? Or it just doesn't have
Yeah, I
show
see
up
it.
at all?
People are joining.